Smoke scuffed up feet, hands held still, eyes fixed ahead. Not yet spoken, but already said.
Oh, bound for promise, standing true. Schoolhouse steps in morning dew.
In every thread a father's care.
In every step a silent prayer.
One adjusts his tie with grace, and the other meets the world face.
Brick and ivy frame their stance.
Hope stitched deep in circumstance.
Oh, bound for promise, hearts aligned. Oh, not just dressed, but dressed to find.
A door that opens wide and far
Beyond the weight of who they are. She gave the photo fragile trust on moments saved from dust to dust. Now canvas holds what time might steal. Two boys who wore their truth like steel. Oh, bound for promise, can you hear how silence speaks when hope is near?
and rolled up cuffs and shoes shine bright.
They walk toward the coming light. They walk toward the coming light.
This is Art with Kenneth. Hosted by artist Kenneth J. Lewis Sr. This channel takes viewers inside the studio, where paintings are built in real time and ideas take shape through process, patience, and intent. Each session reveals how structure, history, and emotion come together on the canvas. This is not a highlight reel. It's the work, unfolding.
Every promise begins long before achievement becomes visible. Long before the applause. Long before the recognition. Long before anyone else understands the journey. Sometimes a promise begins quietly inside a young person who simply refuses to stop believing in what his future could become. In this episode of Art with Kenneth, artist Kenneth J. Lewis Sr. continues the Bound for Promise series with a new painting titled The Promise Cap. Painted on luan panel, the piece begins with a completed sketch and a deep red acrylic wash already covering the surface, a foundation that symbolizes struggle, sacrifice, pressure, and perseverance beneath the final image. From there, layers of oil paint slowly transform the surface into something brighter. Something hopeful. A young graduate standing not only as a symbol of achievement, but as proof that discipline, faith, learning, and endurance can carry a person beyond the limitations the world may place before him. This painting represents more than graduation. It represents becoming, and sometimes the greatest victories are the promises a young person quietly keeps to himself long before the world notices. The early red acrylic wash beneath this painting remains important throughout the process. Even as brighter colors begin to cover the surface, traces of that warm red continue pushing through the oils in certain areas, almost like memory itself refusing to disappear completely. That underpainting represents struggle, pressure, sacrifice, the unseen part of growth. Many young people only see success after it arrives publicly. They see the diploma, the recognition, the celebration. But what often remains invisible are the difficult days underneath it all. The doubt. The discipline. The nights spent continuing forward without guarantees. As the oil paint develops across the luan surface, the painting slowly begins shifting emotionally from struggle toward hope. The yellow and blue graduation robe becomes symbolic inside the composition. Blue suggesting wisdom, stability, focus, and reflection. Yellow carrying warmth, light, possibility, and future. Together they create a sense of movement between where the young man has been and where he is now capable of going. The brushwork itself remains intentionally loose and energetic. Nothing overly polished. Nothing frozen, because growth itself is never perfectly clean. Becoming carries movement, mistakes, revisions, uncertainty, and adjustment. That honesty matters. The building in the background becomes more than architecture. It represents access, education, opportunity. The type of place generations once dreamed about reaching despite enormous obstacles placed in front of them. And yet the figure does not stand inside the building. He stands outside it. That detail matters deeply. Because the promise kept is not really about arriving at a final destination. It is about standing at the threshold of a new beginning after earning the right to move forward. Graduation is not the end of becoming. It is proof that growth can continue. Within the larger Bound for Promise series, this piece carries emotional completion. The series spends time exploring discipline, study, faith, preparation, mentorship, family, and perseverance during the earliest developmental years of young boys becoming young men. And while this painting develops on the easel, viewers will also begin seeing overlays from the upcoming Bound for Promise hardcover collector book, a project built around all 17 paintings in the series. Each image represents a stage of becoming, a stage of growth, a stage of learning, a stage of promise. The series reflects the critical developmental years in a young boy's life and the importance of guidance, faith, education, discipline, family, mentorship, and perseverance during those formative years. If you would like to support the project, the limited first edition hardcover collector release is now available for pre-order, and the link is available in the description below this video. Only 150 signed and numbered first edition hardcover copies will be released. Now the viewer sees evidence of those lessons maturing into achievement. Not perfection. Achievement. There is a difference. Perfection creates pressure. Achievement creates growth. And young people today deserve reminders that success does not require perfection. It requires consistency, faith, responsibility, patience, the courage to continue despite setbacks. The painting also speaks to legacy. Many young people walk carrying dreams that did not begin with them alone. Parents, grandparents, mentors, teachers, churches, neighborhoods, and communities all quietly contribute pieces of strength into the lives of young people long before achievement becomes visible publicly. No one truly rises alone. That truth sits quietly inside this painting. The diploma itself becomes symbolic of more than education. It represents endurance. The ability to stay committed long enough for effort to become transformation. As the oils continue building across the surface, the light grows brighter throughout the composition. The trees begin opening. The sky softens. The environment itself begins feeling more hopeful. That shift is intentional. Because hope changes the way the world feels around us. And perhaps that is the deeper meaning behind the promise kept, not simply that a young man graduated, but that he continued believing in his future long enough to arrive at this moment at all. The promise kept is ultimately about fulfillment. Not the fulfillment of perfection, but the fulfillment of effort, discipline, faith, and perseverance carried over time. Within the Bound for Promise series, this painting represents a turning point, the moment where preparation begins transforming into possibility. For artist Kenneth J. Lewis Sr., this series continues exploring the emotional and spiritual journey of young boys becoming young men through education, mentorship, family, responsibility, and hope, because every young person deserves images that remind them their future still matters. And sometimes art becomes more than image. Sometimes it becomes encouragement. Thank you for watching Art with Kenneth. Please like, subscribe, and share the episode, and continue following the journey of Bound for Promise.
Zweiter Scheidekreis for jedem Lake night come begin to spring. And poured and load of come away, you up and come. How the dark sweater, how the nainted, how come my man?
Thank you for joining Kenneth today on Art with Kenneth. Your support truly means the world to him. Every view, every comment, every share helps keep independent art alive and growing. Through each episode, Kenneth J. Lewis Sr. brings you into the studio, into the process, and into the mindset of a working artist who lives and breathes creativity every single day. If today's episode inspired you, taught you something new, or simply gave you a moment of peace, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps expand the reach of the channel and builds a stronger creative community around the work. He looks forward to creating with you again soon. And remember, every masterpiece begins with a single brushstroke. See you next time.